Why, hello, and welcome to issue 663 of Geek and City Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I'm your other host, Benarita.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's everything. Cable is COVID finally got him. It stalked him at Rose City Comic Con.
Happens to the best of us eventually, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, considering that dude takes public transit almost everywhere up until recently, and he works in retail, that's a good run.
The Cable's also a diligent double masker. So
oh yeah, still, it's a good run.
Yeah. Proud of you, Cable.
Yeah.
Rest up.
Yeah. I am still testing negative.
Yeah, I'm good. I also only spent like an hour and a half at the con, so
yeah, I wasn't there that long either. I think if you were to add up, if you were to add up the whole weekend, including Friday, maybe 5 hours, like total type things.
Just breezing in and out like a star, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly why. Yes, I had to be hurried and rushed to my next public engagement to beat away the droves of fans. Yeah, no, that's not at all what happened.
Well, do you want to tell us a little bit about your weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. So I had a signing at the Oni booth on Saturday. I think it was from like 1 to 2. And it wasn't in the program or anything like that. This is something we just kind of came up with, a few days before. In fact, thankfully Oni was able to get me an exhibitor pass because I did not have a pass to Rose City Comic Con. I didn't buy one and wasn't invited either. So, which I know sounds like I'm really full of myself, but
when your comic is on the premium badge, I feel like you should be invited.
Yeah, so about that, how much tea should I spill?
All of it. Burn it all down. No, I don't know. Whatever you're comfortable with.
You know what? Screw it. It's not like I'm friends with anyone who runs Rose City Comic Con anymore, and I've not hidden. Yeah, and I've not hidden my thoughts on Left Hand Media. So hey, why not? No, basically, so as I was told by various groups, I'm not gonna name any names here because they could be mistaken as well, which means I may be saying something that is untrue, unintentionally. But as I was told, I found out on Sunday, while doing my second signing with Oni, was that, so all the badges at Rose City this year had Oni book covers. So every single badge, whether it was a kid's badge, the premiere, VIP, all of them, they all had a different Oni book depending on what badge it was. And I had found out that allegedly every single creator connected to the book on that badge or whatever was to be extended an invite to be a guest and and been able to have a panel.
So that would include you.
That would have included me. I have since learned that almost none of them were invited, and none of them had panels.
So not invited, not on no panels.
Right.
And so the only reason you ended up going is because Oni brought you in.
Otherwise,
if you had wanted to be there, you would have had to buy a badge or buy a table.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And I only got there because Oni just had a certain amount of exhibitor badges because they had a pretty big booth there. So that's the only reason why I got to go and do my own signing and get in. So yeah. And also I gotta be careful because it's still the hometown show and I want it to do well. And I think that's why I have these critiques. because, and this isn't me saying like things were always better before. I felt like the show was ran better before Left Hand Media took it over completely.
Well, and you and Cable both have different perspectives on the same conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily want to put words in Cable's mouth, and he's not here, but I believe his words were dropped the fucking ball left and right. And so you know you see it from this like creator's perspective and the things that like I don't want not like recognition that you didn't get, but
yeah, I mean
there are things that you were supposed to have gotten and you didn't. And
correct.
This book has been huge for Oni and just in general for comics.
Yeah, it's done
all
really
year
well.
long, and it's kind of insane to me that one of the best-selling books by a local creator isn't being more prominently featured at the local con, the biggest local con we have.
Yeah, and no, I agree, and I really don't want this to be like, oh, Aaron's butt hurt because he did. That's not it. There's a lot of creators I know that should have received a guest invite and didn't, or at least should have had the opportunity to receive an invite and did not receive one. So it's very odd. Yeah, and some of the other things I noticed, I don't know how well Artist Alley tables or vendors performed financially. I've never run a exhibition table like with a business. So, I mean, I don't know what's considered a good weekend for them. Is it worth their money? I do know, speaking personally, to really make any kind of decent money in Artist Alley, you kind of got to be a half carnival barker. Like if you just sit behind your table and play on your phone or sketch or write and like never look up, no one's going to stop and engage with you other than people who really already know you and they're already going to swing by and say hi anyway. So the onus is very much on the creator sometimes, those in Artist Alley, to have a decent show. One thing I've also noticed though, and this is a Portland thing, Portlanders are very odd about what they spend on at conventions, and it's hard to explain. I wonder if part of it is that we have so many great comic book shops and community events geared towards the arts in Portland, that when you go to a major convention and you see it all there, there's also a thought of like, well, I'll see them next week when they're having something at the shop that I get my comics from. So you'll get a lot of that. And I have ran into that before too. But I heard from some vendors that are like, we do okay at Rose City Comic Con. It's not our best performing show. They're like, that's Emerald City, that's WonderCon. There's other West Coast shows that they make more money at. Like I spoke to the folks at Volante when I was in San Diego. And I think they had mentioned that they were going to do Emerald City this year, but they're like, and I said, oh, I remember running into you guys in Portland a couple years ago. And he was pretty he was pretty honest. He says, yeah, we won't do that show again. We lost money. It's not worth going.
Ouch.
Yeah, Cable said lack of scarcity does something weird to Artist Alley.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't spend as much time in Artist Alley as I do like in the general merch area. And I know like in particular, I was hoping to find a couple different cosplay pieces while I was roaming the floor. The one thing that I was about to buy, the booth was so busy. I picked it up and I was like, okay, who can I interact with to ask my questions about this item and pay for it? And there was no one. They were all otherwise engaged, and there was just like a gaggle of people. Like,
right.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna stand here forever. And so I'm like, eventually, I just put it back and walked away. And as I was wandering somewhere else, I walked up to a booth that seemed identical. And I look up and I'm like, pretty sure that's the same name. I asked, do you guys have 2 booths here this weekend? They said, we have 3.
Was it the dice people?
It was dice and like horn,
like
cups
Misty,
and
they were like
leather
Misty
bags
Mountain
and stuff.
They were
like
something
that.
mountain. Yeah, I noticed that too.
Cool
same
vendor. Why do they need 3?
I mean, the only thing I could think of is that because of COVID or what have you, a lot of vendors canceled, and these places were like, "Hey, we'll kick you some more extra bucks to just fill that spot." I think maybe not.
Maybe, but it seemed like there was a lot of that was not the only example of like repetitive, if not the same company, very repetitive on the products.
Yeah,
like, I can only really walk by so many, Doctor Who patterned fabric oven mitts.
Right. And that brings me to something that I think a lot of shows need to do this if they don't. Some do it. And you'll get sometimes comments that this can lead to elitism and favoritism and other problematic issues. Yeah, Cable mentioned the Fudge people had 2 booths. Yes, they did. I think yeah, Bex just said my local comic shop gave up their tables. So this was a rough year for some people coming back. But I think something that could benefit Rose City greatly, and you'll get pushback from it a little bit, is I think there needs to be a better job vetting people who want to be in Artist Alley and businesses. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean just for content wise. I remember a few years ago there was an anime / manga vendor there who I know was not going to be welcome back because it was clearly just porn. It was just hentai and things of
it's a kid friendly event.
They literally had a sheet up with a sign, handwritten sign with a safety pin through it saying 18 and over only, and you could go into the sheet and see. I was like, and they were like 2 lanes over from like the Rose City Kids section, and I'm like, oh wow. Okay. Yeah, a lot of like naked manga girls' body pillows where they just put electrical tape over nipples and crotch regions.
I saw some of those too.
Yeah.
Not ones that needed to be taped over, but I'm like, I don't know that this is the place where you should sell your waifu pillows. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go to Wasabi Con where your audience is at. That also sounded very elitist of me, but I mean,
I don't think it's hard to do necessarily. Comic-Con is a little bit different because it's a mix of like comic book vendors, pop culture toys, a lot of stuff that you can find on Etsy. It's all of those different categories.
Right.
But I feel like that means that there should be less repetitiveness and more diversity because you're pulling from a wider variety of different types of stuff makers and sellers.
Yeah, and that's and I think that's what I feel by vetting. I think right now Left Hand Media is just taking whoever gets the money in first.
Right. Crafty Wonderland doesn't have a problem with that. Like, you got one guy who makes shrinky dink earrings. That's it. No more shrinky dink earring persons in the event.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by curate. I think you should. This is something Stumptown used to do when you applied for a table. You had to provide and show what your content was, because also
I feel like that should be standard.
Yeah, but it's not.
Any of
for them. We want to make sure that you're showcasing people that have a decent body of work or have work that's of a quality that's going to attract attendees. And again, art is very subjective, and what one person sees as very well done, someone else can see as like, I don't get it. This is dumb. So you have to have a variety of people on your staff or on your group in the vetting process. You just have to. Otherwise, you're just going to be catering to one person's taste.
Cable said because Stumptown actually had curating managers or managing curators,
which is what I think a show like Rose City needs to have. Because, like, look, right. I don't want to knock anyone's attempt to make some kind of income through art or their creations, but like, I don't need to see any more postcards with kittens, with kitten art. I know people love cats, people love kittens, but like 10% of Artist Alley were kittens, but like one had Loki's helmet, one had Doctor Who's tie, one had, you know, a sword from Game of Thrones. It's that same thing of like, we're gonna take a pop culture thing and I'm gonna draw a little chibi kitten with it too. And okay,
Right.
have one of that. Pick the best one who submits their application. Like, all right, you, madam or sir or whatever, guy, gal, non-binary pal, you are our kitty person. Congratulations, you're the only one.
That's it. No more cat people.
No more cat people. And maybe you're like, well, I don't do kittens, but I do like, you know, I do tigers and lions and leopards. We're like, all right, we'll look at yours too. Yeah, well, all right, we'll see yours too. Let's see. I saw on the map that at one time they had a legitimate like crafty makers corner. And I actually like that at a pop culture show or at a Comic-Con.
Well,
but
yeah,
it didn't.
There's cosplay and like miniatures are really in. So making sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, but they had the sign up even in the convention center, but they were scattered throughout Artist Alley. And it's just making any kind of income at Artist Alley is not easy. Especially if it's not your hometown show. You are paying, unless you're super lucky and you know someone who you can couch surf with, you're paying to get there. You're paying for your table. You're apparently paying for liability insurance now, which seems really sketchy to me. There's a good chance you are paying for parking. And if you don't know someone to couch surf, you're paying for a place to stay. You're paying for 3 meals a day. Like, you are dropping a ton of money. So the deck's already stacked against you to make any kind of return on Artist Alley. And
then if the event is going to throw like the cost of event insurance onto the artists and creators, that's just like one more fucking drop in the bucket.
Yeah. And Cable's mentioned this before. Like he just said, I'm tilting at windmills. America needs to change how it does comic book and book conventions. Because right now they're ran like trade shows. And we need to follow the model that is done like in Europe and in parts of Asia, where they're more like a week-long festival and they're all throughout the city. And part of that's always going to go back to the fact that America doesn't see, as a rule, American society does not see comics as an art form. It's disposable pop culture trash. So we get dingy lit trade shows, you know. But yeah, I heard a few complaints from people just overhearing, or I just asked people that I kind of know, like, how's your con experience been this year? And they're like, you know, it's fine. There was apparently many issues with dealing with crowds and lines, because I actually noticed a lot of staff outside the convention and in the lobby area. I think I maybe saw 3 on the convention floor itself. I didn't hear of any creator who was checked on to see, do you need some water? Do you want to use the bathroom? I can sit at your table. Because if you're the only person at your own table and you got all your stuff there and you just really got to go, it's like, okay, either I hold it for 9 hours or I risk someone just snagging something off my table or hope that the person next to me is cool enough to keep an eye on it. That's what staff should do, is be like,
didn't they used to have volunteers specifically for that type of help?
They did. I don't know the thing around that. I do believe, though, Oregon has made it to where, since these shows are for-profit entities, they cannot have volunteers, which I agree with.
Yeah. But if the end result is, okay, then there will be no one to help people.
That's bad.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah, I saw that crowd control around panels and main stages was not done very well. I talked to one person who paid the exorbitant amount of money for the VIP pass for like signatures or to get in to see. I think this one was specifically, she was on the VIP list to get in quicker and up front to see Jim
The
Lee.
Fast Pass.
Yeah, basically the Fast Pass, the VIP Fast Pass.
They
And
actually called it that.
Did they?
Yeah, because I was looking at badge prices a couple like the night before or something.
Right.
Yeah, Fast
Yeah.
Pass.
She wasn't let in. She was made to wait in line. And she's like, and I watched just regular attendees just stroll past staff members and go into the room, and they didn't stop them. And when she said, why are you not stopping them? The answer she got was, well, my job is to take care of this line. She's like, but there's people getting in. And she's like, I don't know what to tell you. You just have to wait in this line until we're allowed to let the VIPs in.
So you paid for nothing.
You've paid for nothing, yes. And I guess they have something called the Rose Club this year. I don't know what that was.
I didn't look into what that meant or what it provides.
Yeah. That also brings me back to how shows can help people in Artist Alley, and yeah, even vendors have a better show. Stop charging so goddamn much for tickets. I believe a Sunday pass was $70.
I think the Sunday was 50. I know the Saturday was 60.
That's too much. I get the argument of like, well, that's how they make their money. I don't. There's got to be a better way for them to make money at these things. It's just too much. It's just too much money.
It is.
And to a point, I guess I understand having 3-day badges, 1 badge per day, a kid's badge, and I don't know, maybe like one type of VIP that gets you in. Here's the thing. I would never want to show up an hour early to the show because I guarantee every single person at their vendor booth at their Artist Alley, if they're even there, are grumpy and tired because they had to show up an hour early. So it means they had to show up 2 hours probably before you were let in.
Right.
No artist, I can't think of a single vendor or person who tables that likes the hour early or the stay an hour later just for you.
Just the standard hours of tabling a con for 3 days is fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
That's without like having shit to haul in and haul out every day.
Right.
I mean, I know people try to avoid that, but it's just they're long ass days, constant interacting with other humans. That shit's I'm like tired just thinking about it. I haven't like booth assisted in a couple years now, more than a couple.
Right.
But I still remember just how fucking draining it is. It's fun, sure, but it's also just a lot.
It's work. Yeah, again, Cable said logistically there was just a lack of oversight by show management. Yeah, and I'm not saying this to like rip on the people who were there. I'm sure they were doing the best with what they were given. As always, this is a Metro thing. The food choices at the convention center are atrocious. But that's a convention center thing. They're just bad. They're just bad. They're just awful.
Well, but they put cool signs over the vendors.
Yeah, like the food. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave them like, fantasy RPG style signs over the normal signs.
Yeah.
Maybe they always look like that. I don't know, but it seemed like it was con specific.
Right. And I know that like, this is me just splitting hairs now and stuff, but like first time I ever saw beer served at a convention was at the Denver Comic-Con, which made sense because Denver is the second biggest beer city after Portland.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who put on that Denver show, they approach months and months in advance these breweries and said, would you like to make us like one-offs just for this? And they all do it. I got nothing against Ninkasi, but for 4 years now, you have poured the same damn beer. Your lager and Tricera hops. Like, just if you're gonna be excited about being the only beer person, then like at least pretend to do something specific for the show. Just make it a reason to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Rose City Comic Con, and this is shitty to say, feels like a Wizards show now. It feels like Left Hand Media is like, there is money to be made. We don't care how we make it. And that's it. And I feel like it's a massive upper management issue.
Mm-hmm.
There's already gonna be issues with conventions in Portland. The convention center is fine, but it's got fuck all for parking. There's 2 hotels near it, and they're both small.
There's more, but they're all quite small.
Yeah, they're all small, and boy, am I glad we have like a concrete park across the street at the convention center that is like unusable space. Like,
no,
I get you want to decrease. Yeah, no, like, why is that still there? What is the point of that?
I don't know. No, yeah, I made the mistake of. Well, I mean, I didn't really have a choice, but the day that I did go, I didn't go until noon, and I didn't go in until 1 because I spent all this time just trying to find a place to park and then getting stuck between people who are just taking their sweet time about finding places to park.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're boasting, tens of thousands of attendees, you should have parking for tens of thousands of attendees.
Right. That doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
No.
Yeah, I forgot Cable mentioned Guardian Games is an official sponsor. They're not listed on the program anywhere.
Yeah. That's yeah, I
but I'm trying to
how yeah, just like logistically I'm disappointed.
Yeah, and say like you're a parent or whatever, or a guardian, you've got 2 kids and they're not old enough for them to really go by themselves yet, or you'd rather not. Even if you're just all going for a Saturday, you're just to get in the building, you're dropping
$240.
7 times 3, so 70 times 3. And yes, they have kids prices, but I have been to shows that do this, and I think it's better. I think 12 and under should be free. So if the parents are, because I figure like when you're like 13 or more, you can be dropped off at a show.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I see it. But 12 and under, say you've got whatever. Yeah, you've got 3 kids and they're all whatever. They're, I don't know. They're 11, 9, and 7. All old enough that they love pop culture. They're going to love their superheroes or whatever. And they're going to want to go to this. Well, you're now paying for these 3 kid prices plus yourself to get in. You should probably just only be available. You should probably only have to pay for yourself. That's it. Under 12, you get in free.
Because what ends up happening is the family pays for the badges and they go, but then they don't spend any money inside the con.
Yeah.
So I feel like we talk about that every year.
Every single time we have. Yeah. Yeah. There were great things that happened at the show, but as Cable said, none of it to do with Left Hand Media. I'm not super impressed with them.
Yeah.
From my experience this last weekend, and again, I had a good time for what I was there to do. I really did. Met some great readers, made new readers. That was so much fun. But looking at it now, if a friend of mine who was in the industry was like, "Hey, Aaron, what do you think about me tabling in Rose City?" And they would have to fly out here, get a room, pay for meals, all that. I don't think I could recommend this show anymore. It used to be I could, like, hands down, like, you'll do great. You'll get to meet all these other comic people. You're in Comics Town. Go for it. But now I'm like, all right, let me set your expectations, though, because it's ran differently now.
Mm-hmm. Cable is like, it should be 18 and under because teenagers would spend money if they also got in for free. That's probably a harder sell, though, to the company who owns the convention at all, because that's money that they're not getting. That's money that the artists and vendors are getting.
Yeah, that's the thing. Any of these things that are for-profit ventures, the viability of the artists is not even second thought. It's fourth or fifth thought. I actually filled out their postmortem questionnaire they sent out.
Oh, yeah?
And literally one of the questions was, do you think it's important for us to feature comics at Rose City Comic Con next year? It's like, dude, you just said the inside voice outside. You just said it out loud. You don't actually care for the industry.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you're planning to not do that.
Yeah. And if you want to just throw a pop culture convention, all right, fine. But don't. Yeah. It needs a cleanup from the top down, is my thoughts. Yeah. So left hand, I keep saying left hand. It's not it. Left field. Left hand is a brewery. God, jeez.
I
sorry.
thought it was left hand.
Well, their website is left field. It's left field. I think everyone just says left hand for some reason.
Okay.
So they do 4 shows total. They do 2 anime conventions, Rose City Comic Con, and they do Awesome Con. I have had people that have tabled and been guests at Awesome Con, and they're like, it's a straight up cash grab. It's a celebrity packed cash grab.
No, Aaron, it says we're in the business of delivering one of a kind. Oh my God, this is the best day of my life events for people.
Yeah, no. And it's so weird for me to not be excited about my hometown show anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you, I hadn't even really thought about going until the last minute. It just didn't occur to me. And I get emails from them all the time. I was just like, I don't know. You're not really showing me anything that I'm excited about.
Right.
I did find out that the Chris Waffle Explosion did the Saturday night concert. But yeah. I found out from them at the event partway through the day. I had no idea that there was they didn't market any of the special stuff. I know they had a costume contest, but
they did it. Yeah, they had something called Pro Comic. They had a pro thing. No idea what that was. They had, just no idea.
Yeah, it's like Kayla said, it's our hometown show, but it has been sold to a bigger out of state company, and now I don't know if it's going to be the same anymore. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't really feel like a hometown show. It might as well be just any traveling show.
Yeah, it feels like a Wizards show now, and at least with Wizards, you know exactly what you're getting. There's no putting on airs that we are the hometown show. I mean, at this rate, boy, this is going to get me hate mail. At this rate, I actually would be fine if Reed Pop was like, you know what? We do want to buy Rose City Comic Con. All right. You might also be horrible money grabbers, but at least you are competent at it and know how to put on a show.
Mm.
Boy, I'm just... Those of you remember the old Rick Emerson show, it's like Captain Flamehands is back, man.
I know that Cable isn't here, but he is, piping in from the sidelines. But you and Cable both have actual experience putting on a convention that people cared about.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Bex, who's not in the industry or doesn't have experience, also has a lot of feedback. The only ads for Rose City I kept seeing were Jim Lee and the book fair thing. I don't even know about the book fair thing.
I think the book fair thing was cool, but then it was not supported on the convention floor. It was for like prose authors. Emerald City does that, has been doing it for a while. But it was this sad little square that they put them up in the middle at one end of the convention center. And there was no one there. Bex is right. I saw an ad for Jim Lee. Sometimes Elijah Wood and Sean Astin. That was it. I didn't see them highlight any of their local guests. Like, none of them.
Well, and there's a whole list of them that didn't get invited.
Yep, that is also true. So...
Norm says, just call it Rose City Pop Culture Convention, but I read Rose City Pop Vulture Convention.
Yeah, that's not wrong. So, yeah, I'm wondering if I'll get some nasty email later or some message on LinkedIn being like, you completely misrepresented us, whatever.
No, I think that between you, me, Cable, who, all had different experiences, and listeners, the consensus is it was a disappointing show.
Yeah. And it wasn't disappointing in that, COVID restrictions have just... It wasn't disappointing in that people were nervous and didn't want to be... That wasn't it. People were pumped to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, kind of everyone I ran into afterwards, there was always that feeling of like, something was off. I'm like, yeah, something was off.
No, yeah, it felt as full as any pre-pandemic show I've ever attended.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Rose City. I hope it's better next year. I really do. This town really does deserve like a really good show. But I would like to see a Portland show try the European model, like give it a shot, and understand that it's going to lose money for a couple of years because anything brand new just does. Like, make it nonprofit, and model it after like stuff that they do in Europe. Some of those shows, and you get art galleries involved, and libraries, and school and colleges and schools involved. You make it a celebration of the comics art form, not a trade show. You can still have that to an extent, but
Cable says it won't be. The show we want doesn't exist yet. And you know exactly what I'm thinking, Cable. I have a very specific response to that statement, but you don't want to hear it.
Oh. I probably don't either then.
No, probably not.
Is it put it on then?
Maybe. Not like that. I wouldn't say it like that.
Don't have the bandwidth for it anymore.
No, none of us do.
None of us do.
Although, would that we could. If we didn't have these, full-time jobs and other things required of us, we could totally put on a good show.
Yeah, if I could,
we know what the people want. Well,
yeah, if I could survive and spend an entire year getting a show ready, yeah, I'd go for it and I'd try something different. Yeah, but that's just, yeah. Okay, I'm not starting a god. Yeah, okay, I'm with Cable. We have lived that life. I run into our friend Indigo sometimes, and he'll be like, sometimes I feel that itch to bring back Stumptown. I'll look at him and be like, really? And he's like, yeah, but then it passes. I'm like, yeah, here you go. It's hard and it's selfless. I was about to say, and then when you're done, some jackass gets on a podcast and rips you a new one.
No, we are not. When we give this negative feedback, we're not talking about local people who spend a year putting on a local con, with like no budget and, doing it at the DoubleTree. We're not talking to those people.
Yeah. And what?
We went to Indie Comic Con at the DoubleTree in 2019, and that was a great event. Was it tiny? Yes, but it was still good.
It had some issues, but it was brand new. Look, I'm never gonna.
They get the buy of being, oh, this is your first year, so was it perfect? No, I didn't expect it to be.
Here's the thing. I am never gonna rip on anything, whether it be a show, a movie, a book, or a convention. I'm never gonna rip on someone who swings for the fences but missed. I will rip on a show that swings for mediocrity and still misses.
Yeah, because it was they're just doing it for the money.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like Cable, if he had that kind of money, would bankroll a comic show but let the kids do it.
Yeah, that's fine. Not all the kids. Some of them are little shit apples too. Just being younger doesn't give you a pass.
Not like small children.
No, I know what you mean. I know.
People under 30.
Mm-hmm. So there it is. I guess that's my Rose City recap. But it was great to run into people that I did meet. I'm sorry if I don't mention your name. As Denise knows, I am awful at remembering names. Even when I do remember them, I usually say them incorrectly. But a lot of them brought me fun little gifts, like CGC graded copies of Season in the Bruja. That was like literally kind of, I was like, what? Which is just kind of, it's just neat. It's neat. And then I believe, I think his name is Peter. I remember him because he's been a listener a long time. And he does amazing lightsaber videos. He got me a Black Phillip like whatever Catholic candle. What are those called? The tall ones?
I don't actually know what they're
not votives, because votives are the tiny ones, right?
Votives are little guys, the little teacups.
Ernie brought me the CGC comics. Thank you, Ernie. That was super cool. I got to find where to put them. Thanks, Ernie. That was righteous.
No, not a votive. What the fuck are they called?
It doesn't matter. I just call them the Catholic candles. You all know the tall ones.
Oh, it's driving me nuts, though.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I will also share an excellent thing that I enjoyed at the show. It was hanging out at the Guardian Games booth and learning how to play a new game that I'd never heard of or played before.
Yeah, I saw you playing something.
Yeah, now I'm gonna forget what it's called. Maybe Cable can save me on that one too. But apparently it's a remake of an older version. It used to be like manufactured differently than it is now, but it's the same concept where you're betting on horses or buying horses and long shot. It was called long shot, and the board is a track, and you've got your little horses, your little indicators, and you roll dice to see which horse advances how far. And, by that way, some, if not all of the horses make it all the way around a track. So then there's like a first, second, and third place winner. And you win money if you bet on the right horse. And you win money if you own the horse that wins.
Right.
It was actually kind of complicated. And between that and my ADHD and like just the din of humanity, I really struggled to remember. I'm like, okay, wait. So what does it mean if I pick this guy's helmet? And what is it? What happens when I do this? And, but it was still a very fun and interesting game.
That's cool.
Yeah. Guardian Games.
Yes. I'm sponsored.
This is not a spot for them. I legitimately had a good time doing it.
Oh, it could be. Let's just make it the spot. That's fine. 345 Southeast Taylor Street.
Woo! We did it.
Yeah. Where they got to talk about role-playing games with Stamets himself.
Yes, that was super cool. I'm like, damn it! I was in front of their booth for so long, and apparently I still missed out.
Yeah, I apparently just missed Anthony Rapp.
Oh man,
that would have been so. He posted and we thanked the gaming community and Guardian Games, because apparently he was like, he just talked about gaming, talked about role playing and how important it is and stuff. And it's like, that guy's the real thing. He seems very nice. He's one of the celebrities. If I'd have planned it out better, I probably would have tried to find a way to meet him and Wilson Cruz. That would have been cool. Discovery
was
Space.
Wilson Cruz there too?
Yeah, but again, they didn't do a very good job promoting anyone that wasn't Jim Lee or Elijah Wood.
No hate on Elijah Wood, but I would have been much more interested in Anthony Rapp and Wilson Cruz.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, nothing against Elijah Wood. I don't mean that at all. Yeah, there were a lot of guests that I saw that I didn't even know they were there until I saw on Facebook friends posting their photos with them at Rose City. I guess the cool thing that happened is Esposito, when he was kind of done for the day and the weekend, he started walking the con floor.
Nice.
So my friend Pete, the guy who brought me the candle, he's got a picture of him in his lightsaber dueling gear, like crossing blades with the dark saber with him. It's like, oh, that's awesome. And he's like, yeah, he just walks the floor when he's done. Says hi.
Awesome.
And yes, Cable's going to see about an interview for Anthony Rapp on this show.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be very cool. Ooh.
Okay, I couldn't rest until I looked it up. The Catholic candles are called veladoras.
Called what?
Veladoras.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
It's totally off topic at this point, but it was just driving me nuts, and I finally found the answer.
I get it. Well, we're not going to have like the longest show tonight either. So do you want to kind of roll into some of the other?
Yeah. Let's move it along.
So let's go to Lovecraft first, since that's our local show that is done well.
Yeah.
And does get a lot of promotions. They announced some of their guests today for this year, the 22 festival, and their featured guest is the head of the Andorian Mining Consortium himself, Jeffrey Coombs.
Woo!
That's super cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah. We definitely got to see if we can get him on the show before.
I was going to say, like, do you think Gwen and Brian can hook us up with an interview?
Totally going to ask. Might go for it. Yeah. I've never met him in public before. I've always missed the chance to meet him. So that'd be kind of cool to see, excited for that. So we're going to start seeing more and more news about Lovecraft coming up here in the next coming weeks. So get ready for it.
What's funny is I wouldn't, I just don't think of him as a prominent horror actor. I mean, I know he did The Frighteners, and that's a fucking masterful performance.
Yeah.
But still, I think of him more as a Star Trek guy.
Oh, sure.
A horror guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's got a creepy part in House on Haunted Hill. He plays the doctor, the dead ghost doctor.
Oh man, I haven't seen that movie since it came out, and also I didn't like it.
I like it until the last. I like it until the last 20 minutes, and it is cheesy.
Yes, exactly. The ending ruins it.
The CGI monster, so bad. I was like, can it just be ghosts and the house that kills you? I don't need the combined souls of the murdered.
Yeah, whatever.
And one of them is a naked lady ghost, so you see CGI ghost boob. I only laugh at that because on the DVD it has some of the behind the scenes, and they're literally like they're talking to some of the guys that do the digital CGI work, and they're prepping that scene, and it's literally like it's freeze framed on like that image with this ghost woman kind of like coming out or whatever. And the effects guy he's like, so here's we have to put these textures in here, and he's like, see, we had to get a good looking boob for this shot, even though it's really quick. I'm like, all right, great. Yeah, just turn it off the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. Cable says he loves Reanimator so much, and I've actually never seen it. Am I missing out?
Yeah, it's fucked up. Reanimator's great. And also I'll get you a copy of it, because to find a copy of it now is expensive if you can find it. Jeffrey Coombs read all of Herbert West's Reanimator, the story as it appeared, I think, in 6 parts in a pulp magazine way back in the day. He does a dramatic reading of it, and it's fantastic. But yeah, he's also then in the movie Reanimator. That is very good. It also has a very awkward scene.
Okay.
It is just collectively known as the head giving head scene. And I will leave it at that.
Oh God. Now I'm like, what
Yeah.
does that mean? Let me visually figure out what that means in my mind.
Okay.
Other special guests of the HP Lovecraft Film Festival include Cody Goodfellow, who I'm sorry to say I'm not particularly familiar with.
Well, they get a lot of authors, and unless you were like neck deep into Lovecraft mythos,
which, as we know, I'm not.
Yeah, and it's not a dig on him, like that. You're not going to know him as much, but
right.
Andrew Lehman. He's been going there.
He's familiar, but maybe just from other previous shows.
Yeah, you've seen him before. We even talked to him a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Andrew Lehman, his group started off as like a Call of Cthulhu RPG group, and they just kept growing and growing and growing into making film, theatrical presentations, props, music. They just went for it. So
co-produced The Whisperer in the Darkness. That rings a bell.
Which you did like. It was that black and white Universal style movie.
Excellent. Yes, I extremely enjoyed that film.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah. And there was some Trek news because it was Trek Day. Just a few days ago.
On the 8th, I believe.
Yeah. It wasn't like, it was fun. I had it playing in the background. It wasn't like I didn't expect to learn anything new. Like, it wasn't like I thought there was going to be a new show announced that no one had known about yet. Like, yeah, like I knew they weren't going to be like, and here's Section 31, surprise. Like, no, they're not. But we got to see like a new teaser for Picard season 3. Looks cool. I'm excited. We know sometime in Discovery season 5, the captain gets to drive around in a badass looking like Mad Max motorcycle for some reason. So yeah, that's cool. Really nice tributes to Nichelle Nichols that made me cry every single time someone said something about it.
Oh, that's right. We're burying the lead. Thanks, Cable. Carol Kane is going to be on Strange New Worlds.
I wasn't burying the lead. I was saving the best for last. Damn it.
That's crazy cool. I love her.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and then the Con 3 episode podcast. That just feels like they weren't going to give Nicholas Meyer money for the show they promised him. They're like, you know what? We're not doing this. And they're like, we'll give you money to do this. So, okay. But yeah, I'll listen to it. I mean, why wouldn't I listen to it? It'd be fun. Yeah. But yeah, Carol Kane that's the one everyone went, what? So
her picture that has been circulating around the internet, and she looks amazing.
Yeah, she looks great. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that.
I'm also like really into this. Let's keep bringing comedians onto Star Trek.
It does work really well, for sure.
Yeah.
I like the hosting. It's funny, like this is like the third Star Trek Day they've done where it's like live streaming, and there are always like weird hiccups and jokes and bits that just don't land. Like they had Brian Posehn on do like 5 minutes, and he's nervous. He's on stage shaking with his notes because he's such a big Trek fan.
I had no idea.
And he has some voice parts in Lower Decks. He's a huge Trek fan, but he also knows the kind of stand-up he does. The people in the audience for Star Trek Day, they don't want to hear it. And he kind of knows that. So he's trying to do these like Trek-themed stand-up bits. And even he knows, he's like, guys, this is going to bomb. I'm just telling you now, it's not very good. I'm happy they invited me, but I don't know what I'm doing here.
Aww.
So there's a lot of that on Star Trek Day, but in a weird way, it makes it feel more authentic than like D23, which streamed like 2 days later. Very polished. Like
that's exactly the word I was going to use.
Yeah. So like Star Trek Day always looks like, yeah, it's a big corporation, CBS, Paramount, whatever, but it still looks like something that is being put on by people who aren't even the professional actors. Toddy Newsom and Paulus Tompkins. They're professional. They make a living acting.
Mm-hmm.
but even there it's a difference between acting and being a polished presenter of a live stream for a corporation.
Right.
And they
Well,
had bits they just had bits that didn't work, and that was okay.
Well, and they probably didn't write those bits, and the network does not have a long or good history of supporting this show, and so now they're like trying to like roll out this red carpet of like celebrating Star Trek and giving it a day of things and like turning it into a whole to do, but they're not really very practiced at it.
Yeah. As opposed to the D23 stuff, where that is heavily polished
by a well-oiled corporate machine.
Yeah, who have got almost damn near 100 years. If you start to consider the beginning of Disney as this empire from when Walt started doing shit, I think next year is the 100th anniversary.
Mm.
But as a corporation as we know it, yes, there's 70 years of practice. They've had bad years and whatnot.
But they put a lot of money into how they present themselves. They've focused on that for a really long time.
Yeah, and it shows. And it's not making it as a dig, but it shows. Like, I will say they showed the new trailer for Willow, and I was pretty pumped for that show to begin with, and I'm really interested in it now. It looks quite good.
Oh, I have to check that out. I didn't realize it was out already.
Oh, if you just do D23.com, unlike Star Trek Day, where they force you to watch every streaming video, on the D23 one, you can read a quick synopsis and then watch what they know you're here to watch, which are trailers and teasers.
Doubling back to Star Trek real quick, Cable says that like every time Tawny Newsome went off script those were the best bits, and it happened a lot.
Yeah, totally. So I don't think there were any big surprises with D23 either. We got to see more stuff we knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that got people super pumped. Well, first, the Werewolf by Night trailer looks fantastic. It looks like it's going to be all in. I hope it's still going to all be in black and white, and it looks like it's being shot like a 60s, like cheap matinee, like hold on to your loved ones tight because Werewolf by Night is coming, like that. And I was like, oh, if you're doing this, okay, I'm down for you to like experiment with that a little bit. Yeah, go for it. They gave the Secret Invasion trailer, which seemed fine. We all knew it's the thing, like we all knew a lot of stuff was just coming. And
right,
this just
no big reveals, just a lot of updates.
Not really. Yeah, I think the coolest thing is we finally saw the confirmation of Thunderbolts, and there was a piece of art that shows the Thunderbolts team, and they brought out some of the cast members, a big chunk of them. And that's cool. Like, I'm down for Thunderbolts. I always like it when you get the morally, gray or the bad guys forced to do good things. It's always fun.
Is that why is that what Werewolf by Night is about? I actually don't know anything.
No, Thunderbolts is basically in Marvel, it's villains. Thunderbolts is Marvel's version of Suicide Squad.
Gotcha. I thought you were saying Thunderbolts was something that we were gonna see in the Werewolf by Night thing.
No, I'm sorry. No, I jumped around there. No, Werewolf by Night is just exactly what it sounds like. It's one of Marvel's horror titles. I think the one thing that like really made everyone kind of explode, and it wasn't even an intentional moment, was when Ke Huy Quan posed with Harrison Ford, and like the internet melted.
So cute.
It was so wonderful because he's in season 2 of Loki, bigger part. And I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me being fan hopeful, but I'm like, man, if he has a cameo in Indiana Jones 5, you're going to be able to get away with a lot of mediocre storytelling if you hit me with an adult short round seeing Dr. Jones and being like, how's it going, old man?
Christian was saying the same thing, that it should be like a, like, forget this whole weird, like, retcon secret son that we never knew about in all these other movies. It should just be a passing of the torch from Indiana Jones to Short Round.
Yeah, that's
like one last romp that culminates in it's up to you now, kid. Now you're the Indiana Jones.
That's it. Like that's all
That's not his real
anyone ever
name.
wanted. No one gave a crap about Mutt.
No.
Eh.
A lot of people
Or-
will refuse to acknowledge that movie at all.
It's so bad. It's just awful. I hope 5 has better writing. I think with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I think helping out with the script in addition to starring in it, that will help a lot.
Mm.
But yeah, if he just at the end of the movie, he just hands him the hat and says, "It's your turn, kid. I'm done." And I just end it with like him putting on the hat, winking, and being like, "Okay, Dr. Indy." But like not doing it like with an act, like just acknowledge their past of like how they used to talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. No, you end it with them playing poker.
You cheat.
Yeah. End it with them playing poker. And Indiana Jones is still trying to cheat him.
Well, and if Phoebe Waller-Bridge is involved, there's going to be a lot of good, funny moments. She's hilarious.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, but I feel like that was the biggest highlight from D23 was like a behind the scenes shot of those two, like legitimately looking happy to see each other again. That was cool.
I'm curious what Harrison Ford was doing there.
Oh, they showed scenes from Indiana Jones 5.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, he and Phoebe Waller-Bridge were there, and they showed a few scenes and stuff. I kind of feel like this one's going to be good because Harrison Ford, one thing he's really bad at is not hiding his disdain for a bad script after he shot a movie. Right. He didn't talk very positively about Crystal Skull during promos. And in this one, he is. Like, he's legit being like, the story's great. And he's even saying, like, it's better because Phoebe Waller, she got involved. Yeah. He actually seems proud of this one. You know, it's like when you saw him do promos for The Force Awakens, there was a lot of like, what brought you back? He's like, money.
I only did it if they promised to kill me off.
Yeah. But like,
that was a pretty good Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
That. Norm, from your lips. Actually, no, I kind of hated Willie. He says that the last person to show up at the table would be Willie Scott and then fade to credits.
No, I always feel like Willie Scott, once she got away from him, wanted nothing to do with him ever again.
Probably. Like, they probably had, like, hot and fast, and then never again.
Yeah, then never again. Yeah. I mean, you got to have Sala come back to the table. Yeah, Sala. John Rhys Davies.
He died, but if I can't.
No, he didn't die.
Happened, then obviously not.
No, he didn't die. What's his name died? Marcus from Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade. That actor passed away.
Oh no! I meant the character.
Oh no!
Solid still. If I can't picture a scene, then it must not have happened.
No, he's still out there.
Yeah, he would be great. I would enjoy that comeback for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of it. I think a lot of announcements about changes at the parks, but we don't really cover that kind of stuff. But again, like there was no real surprises at D23. It was like everything we expected. I think people were hoping for maybe like a quick glimpse at like Fantastic Four. Like, no, you're not. That damn thing's at least 4 years away as it is. Like, you're not going to see it now. So you're not even going to see like artwork for it yet. Like, just stop holding your breath on that one. You're going to get it, but it's not going to be like surprise. So. And yes, Cable said John Rhys Davies should definitely come back. Absolutely. Yeah, the Star Wars skeleton crew. I'm trying to say like there wasn't anything like unexpected. These are all kind of things we know about.
Well, any last thoughts?
I mean, that's it. You know, now that we've alienated the one local show, you know,
they don't give a shit about us.
No, obviously. No. Well, yeah, I guess with that, we'll be back. Cable said, I thought that was unexpected. I didn't think it was because it was announced like 6 months ago already. Like not Kevin Feige. What's his name? Cowboy hat guy. Oh my gosh. Filoni. Sheesh. He's mentioned it a few times. So yeah. Skeleton Crew sounds good. You know, kids lost in space in a ship in Star Wars. Not at all like Prodigy. Kids lost in space, but Star Trek. Anyway. Hey, I guess what's good for the goose is good for the gander, since Star Trek Prodigy has General Grievous in it as a bad guy. So, you know, whatever. It's a trade-off. Sorry, couldn't help it. Well, we'll be back next week. Let me double check our calendar. I don't know if we have a guest next week.
I think we have a pending guest, maybe.
Woohoo!
Am I looking at the right week?
It'll be the 20th. We may have a pending Lovecraft, so we will find out. So we'll be all back next week, and maybe someone else.
Ooh, I don't know why that's scary, but
I mean, assuming medical stuff doesn't take you out now. Like it's just rotating through us one at a time, which is kind of nice. It would be
my turn, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Balls. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So everyone protect Denise at all cost.
Quick, get me a bubble.
Yeah. Cable said Gwen should be on soon. Yeah, we'll figure all that out for sure.
Off air.
Yes. Well, with that being said, I'm Aaron Duran in a neck brace.
I'm Vina Rita in a back brace.
Look at us. We're olds.
Oh, man.
Together, we support one full human. Cable should be back next week also. Yeah. Bye, nerds. Have fun.
Watch out for pain.
It's huge.